Hi, I'm Heather.
I'm Rob.
And today we're going to be walking you through a cryptic crossword. This is from the Guardian website. It's the Everyman crossword number 3842. And this video is for beginners who don't know the first thing about crosswords, or more intermediate crossword solvers who maybe want help deciphering some of the more difficult clues.
Okay. So should we start off one across?
Let's do it.
Do you want to give any background on clues in general before we start?
Okay, so normally to solve a clue, either the front part of it or the back part of it is going to be the definition, a synonym say, and then you'll probably have a bit of wordplay in the middle which will help you get to that.
Yeah, so let's see how that works in practice. So we have already solved this crossword, and so we don't want to waste your time thinking about the answers, so we'll just go through in the order that we solved it earlier. So one across, unit of energy, inert gas, technical gibberish. The definition here turns out to be technical gibberish, so a word that means that is jargon. And how does it work with the wordplay? At the start of the clue you've got unit of energy. Now that could be joules, and joules is often abbreviated to J, and then an inert gas, in this case, is argon. Put the two together and you get jargon.
Perfect. Let's go. Yep.
Two down.
Okay, so perhaps gîtes in the Dordogne to be overrun with vermin. So we looked up, because we didn't know, that gîtes are holiday homes, and we've got this R, which made us think that a type of vermin is rats. The answer is retreats, being holiday homes. You've got rats around the edge. The Dordogne is in the south of France, and the verb to be in French is être. So that fits together really nicely.
Great. 9 across. They loathe seeing radiators losing energy. Had to think about this one for a while because the definition isn't that obvious, but it turns out the answer is haters. And haters are people that loathe. Another word for radiators is heaters. And in cryptic crosswords, energy is often E, so losing energy means taking away an E. So heaters without an E gives haters. Let's jump to this side of the crosswords.
Nice. I'll let you do that one.
Okay, great. Yeah, so primarily, delay a while, delay, loiter endlessly. So quite often, primarily in the Everyman crossword and other cryptic crosswords means take the first letters of words around it. So here, after primarily, if we take D, A, W, D, D, L, E, we get dawdle, and that's another word for loitering or loiter endlessly. So that's the definition at the end of that clue. Yeah, we did that next, but then got a little bit stuck in that corner. So we'll jump to a different place to have a go. Do you want to do one of these?
Yeah, put me somewhere. Not there.
How about 19 down?
Yes, so it commemorates an unpleasant mixture of bacteria and saliva. Here we've actually got a double meaning, because something which commemorates something else is a plaque, and plaque is also a mixture of bacteria and saliva. Yep,
brilliant. Right, I'm going to try 24 across because that cue is quite helpful in being able to do that one. And actually this is a pretty interesting clue. The answer, in fact, is queuing. So let's just break that down. At the start of the cue, we've got the word waiting, and then backed up, EU repeatedly, getting into N island, question, good. So there's quite a lot going on in that clue, but in fact most of it is wordplay. And this backed up is quite interesting because that signifies that the wordplay is kind of indicating things going backwards. So EU repeatedly, that's EU twice backwards in there, and that's into or inside N island, which here is NI, question. So inside NI question being Q, all of that going backwards, and then shoved on the end. Often in these crosswords, good can be abbreviated as G. Put it all together and you get queuing. So quite involved, but also quite satisfying one to solve.
Fabulous. Okay, so ancient empire where bionic man oddly not seen. So the Inca Empire is an ancient empire, and where it says oddly not seen, what you actually need to do is take out the odd letters. So if we start with bionic man, take out the B, take out the O, etc., and you're left with the letters Inca.
Lovely. Right, 26 across. Now this one, I'll just tell you, the definition is anteaters. So you might or might not know that there's another animal that's related to anteaters called echidnas. So I'll put that in. Oh, spelled that wrong. Echidnas, like that. And to check that that's right, let's look at the word play. So, yek-eyed nastily consume. For a while I thought this might be an anagram with nastily signaling the anagram, but in fact, if you look carefully inside yek-eyed nastily, you've just got the word echidnas spelt out. And the word consume kind of signifies that those earlier words have the answer inside them.
Yeah, good.
Okay, do you want to do that one?
Yeah. Beat with run in the silence. The answer is thresh. If you beat something, you thresh it. And run in the silence, you've got sh here, which you get for the word silence. Run in the, you've got R here, which is the start of run, and you've got the word the around it.
Great. Okay, 21 across. This one is, and the meaning is Asian city. So trying to think of an Asian city beginning with L. And turns out there's an anagram here, and to be arranged is the anagrind or the signifier of the anagram. Which is quite often used to signify anagrams, and what we're looking for is a rearrangement of the letters in chorale. But you might notice, well, that's 7 letters and we're looking for a word that's 6 letters. Well, in fact, where it says not about, very often in cryptic crosswords it's good to know that about might mean the letter C, and that comes from the Latin circa, which is often abbreviated to be C. So here, not about means not the letter C. Take the letters from chorale, not the letter C, rearrange them, and you get Lahore, which is in Pakistan. Where do you want to go?
Yeah, we can go for that long one. So, novel, one that's familiar to you and every man. Now, we've already got quite a few letters here, so filling this in, that's probably going to be our, and then we worked out that that looks like it'll be friend. And if you know your novels, you'll know that Our Mutual Friend is a novel by Charles Dickens. And this also works really well because somebody who would be familiar to you and every man is somebody who's a mutual friend.
Yeah, very nice. Okay, right, one down. We've got quite a few letters. Avant-gardist, seen in can, euphemistically, prison. Well, quite tricky. Avant-gardist. Well, the first word is probably going to be John, because that fits nicely. So if you know your avant-gardists,
which we don't.
which we don't. We actually did have to look this up, I must say. But there is John Cage, and John Cage, well, in terms of the wordplay, we've got can, which is another word for a toilet, which can also be called a John. And then cage is another word for prison. And yeah, that's where that comes from. Right. Do you want to do 12 across?
Yep.
I'll just plug that laptop in before it dies.
Okay. Revolutionary in charge, suppressing Polish sweet. So we know from the letters here, C and E, that the revolutionary is probably going to be Che, aka Che Guevara. Suppressing Polish, actually on a second reading, you can also pronounce as polish, and to polish something is to rub. In charge is often abbreviated to IC, and if you're cherubic, I'm not sure how you pronounce that.
Cherubic? Not sure.
You are sweet.
Lovely. Right, 15 across. Found the goat striving to run amok. Took quite a bit of thought, this one. Seems like there's probably an anagram in there somewhere. We thought for a while run amok might signify the anagram, but in fact that's not the case. The letters in the anagram are found the goat, and striving is kind of a word that means that you might want to change the order of those letters around. So we're now looking for something that means run amok using those letters, and that is got. What's it? Forgotten.
Something got you on the head or something?
Got
Hand? Got out of hand.
Okay, yeah, got out of hand. Had a mind blank there. Got out of hand. Okay. Perhaps let's go to 11 down. Or that's quite a tricky one. Do you want to come back to that one?
Not. Let's go, yes, to 18 maybe.
Oh yeah, this one we definitely did about now.
So, beast that's not spotted in the wild, clapboard elk. The fact that clapboard elk is a really weird set of words probably would signify that that is going to be an anagram of some sort. Wild being the signifier, the anagrind. Now, a beast that's not spotted in the wild is a black leopard. And it's not spotted for two reasons. A, it's not got any spots on its coat, and B, it's difficult to see because it's got a dark coat.
And it's quite an elusive animal.
Indeed.
So yeah, quite a nice one that. Right. Let's jump back up here. Trumps, perhaps, after getting elected, bigly. This clue did quite a good job of throwing us off for quite a while, because obviously with Trumps and bigly, you're thinking about the president, well, and elected. That the whole surface of the clue is talking about President Trump. So I was thinking it's got to be something related to that, but actually it's another use of the word trumps, and that's in playing cards. So the answer is in spades. Pretty clever. So trumps can obviously sometimes be spades, and if you have done well at something, or it's kind of something with emphasis, it could be done in spades, which is also, I think, what President Trump meant by the word bigly. Let's go to 5 down.
Not a single American displays common sense. If you have common sense, you use your nous. And then the word American here can be abbreviated to US. Not a single, no, put it all together, nous.
Lovely. Okay, 6 down. Blasted horns, portent before goal for team. Now, as soon as I see the word blasted, I think, well, this is probably another anagram. But counting up the number of letters and seeing if it matches the answer, if you took the letters from horns, portent, then it's only 12 letters, where we're looking for 15. So there might be an anagram, but you're also looking for something else. So if you arrange these, you can actually get Preston, North, and then the next part, another word for goal is end, and Preston North End, of course, is the football team.
Of course.
Yeah, you knew that, didn't you?
Yes.
Right, 13 across.
Okay, so this one, we guessed it was Stella, because Stella is a type of lager. Weren't sure how that related to the end of the clue, but in the film A Streetcar Named Desire, it turns out that Brando calls for Stella repeatedly. So that works in two ways.
Had to look that one up. Just the Brando reference. Right, let's go to 14 down. So this one, most Ayatollahs brought up a vegetable. The answer here is a type of vegetable, and the wordplay brought up quite often means going the other direction, especially for a down clue. So looking for a word backwards. And if we take most of the word Ayatollahs, we can take the letters from shallot and being spelt backwards, flip them around and you get shallot.
Okay, so an Italian physicist with anger becomes prolific essayist. So the answer here is Voltaire, being the French philosopher and essayist. How do you pronounce this? Ira?
I think it's ire.
Ire is a 3-letter word for anger, and Voltaire is an Italian physicist.
Very nice. Okay, this one. Not my favourite clue. Maybe it's quite clever, maybe not. Up for debate. Well, I mean, it's clever, but maybe it's a bit convoluted. Okay, so the answer is basilica. And there's quite a lot going on. Largely unadorned little Italian church. Actually, for starters, it's anything but. So we kind of got the answer because of a word that means church and fits with the letters that we'd already got, and then worked out the wordplay afterwards. So if you take the word basic, which is another word for unadorned, but you only take 4 letters of it because you're largely taking letters from the word basic, then you get BASI, and then after that, for starters, take the letters from little Italian church, actually put them on the end. The whole thing is basilica, and then it's anything but is kind of referring to the rest of the clue, where it says it's a little unadorned church. Actually, it's not. It's a large and potentially lavish church.
Controversial, I think.
Yeah, let's move on.
Okay, so brief pint drinking queen and country. So the answer is a country. It's Belize. How do you get there? Well, a pint is a beer. Brief means deduct the letter R. Often in a cryptic crossword, the word queen can be either R for Regina, or here it is Liz, Queen Elizabeth.
Lovely. Okay, 27 across. What drug pusher might say at entrance, sweet dreams? Quite like this one. What might a drug pusher say? Ideal. Then at entrance, I think that means take the first letter of sweet. S, get ideals, and ideals are dreams.
Okay, so this one, head after comic figure sloth. We know from the words or the letters that we already have that it is, I'm going crazy here, idleness, but we don't know why. So it is a synonym for sloth, to be idle.
So pretty confident that's right, but
we can't figure out why head after comic figure leads us to that.
So please let us know in the comments if you can work that one out. Now moving on to what I think is probably the most tricky clue in this crossword. We struggled for a long time to get this. So I will just reveal the answer. The answer is mute swan. And the reason I thought this was tricky is the wordplay is hard, the final answer is hard, you need general knowledge or good language skills to get it. So let's break it down. Perhaps pen is actually the definition here. Pen is the name for a female swan, I believe. So a mute swan could be a pen. Now, letters in Athens, that's talking about Greek letters potentially, and one of the Greek letters is mu. So Greek letters could be muse, M-U-S, describing the empty. So the empty is T with no H, E, and then describing, I think, means put it inside muse. Then finally, pasty. I was thinking it was pasty for quite a while, but no, it's actually pasty is another word for, or one is a word which means pasty. And luckily you knew that, because I'd never heard of that before.
Fab.
Okay, 8 down.
One of the worst type of clues, in our opinion, is a spoonerism, which the word spooner would almost always signify, I guess.
Yeah, I must say, whenever I see a spooner, my heart sinks a little bit, because they're always quite tricky to get. I think I find that they're quite clever, and once you've got them, it's great. You're like, oh well, that's a nice bit of wordplay. But they're just quite tricky to actually approach how to do them.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'd welcome suggestions on how to do it. We tend to, as we have here, get the letters, work out from the definition what the answer is, and then finally connect back why it was a spooner clue.
Mm-hmm. So a spoonerism is where you'd normally have two words, and you, I suppose, switch the letters around.
The first letter of each word, yeah.
Yeah. Help me out here. What was it?
So,
I know the answer is syntax.
So syntax, and that's a word that means arrangement. But in terms of the spooner part, cheap horn could mean, another way of saying cheap horn is tin sacks. And if you take tin sacks, swap the first the letter of each word, you get syntax.
Awful. Okay.
Right, last one.
Yeah, desired broccoli essentially producing wind. So, sirocco is another word for wind. Or
yes, a certain type of wind. Yeah.
Wind. And basically, broccoli essentially, if you take the essence, aka the middle part of broccoli, you get this occo. And equally for desired, if you take the middle part of desired, you get sir.
Yep. So that's how we got to these answers. Please let us know if that's helpful. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. Really.